हरे कृष्ण। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी, गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन, यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यामुनतीरावनचारी, यामुनतीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन, यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यामुनतीरावनचारी, यामुनतीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन, यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन। यामुनतीरावनचारी, यामुनतीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय ओम विश्वपाद परम से परिव्राज काचार्य स्तोत्र शत शिशोद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, The Advent of Lord Krishna. Introduction. Text 65 and 66. So we will read the word by word translation for both the verses 65 and 66. And while reciting, we'll recite the text 66. ऋषेः विनिर्गमे कंसः यदून् मत्वा सुरान् इति देवक्याः गर्भसम्भूतं विष्णुं च स्ववधं प्रति देवकीं वसुदेवं च निगृह्य निगडैः गृहे जातं अहन् पुत्रं तयोः अजनशङ्कया. So text 66. देवकीं वसुदेवं च निग्रह्य निगडैर्गृहे जातमहन् पुत्रं तयोरजनशङ्कया. देवकीं वसुदेवं च निगृह्य निगडैर्गृहे जातमहन् पुत्रं तयोरजनशङ्कया. देवकीं वसुदेवं च निगृह्य निगडैर्गृहे जातमहन् पुत्रं तयोरजनशङ्कया. देवं च निगृह्य निगडैर्गृहे जातमहन् पुत्रं तयोरजनशङ्कया. देवकीं वसुदेवं च निगृह्य निगडैर्गृहे जातमहन् पुत्रं तयोरजनशङ्कया. Mataji. जातमहन् पुत्रं तयोरजनशङ्कया. Word to word, we'll read for both 65 and 66. Rishehe, of the great sage Narada, Vinirgame, On the departure, after giving information, Kamsaha, Kamsa, Yadun, all the members of the Yadu dynasty, Matva, thinking of, Suran, as demigods, Iti, thus, Devakyaha, of Devaki, Garbha Sambhutam, the children born from the womb, Vishnum, accepting as Vishnu, Cha, and Svadham Prati, fearing his own death from Vishnu, Devakim, Devaki, Vasudevam Cha, and her husband Vasudeva, Nigrahya, arresting, Nigadaihi, by iron shackles, Grihe, confined at home, Jatam Jatam, each one who has been born, who was born, one after another, Ahan, killed, Putram, the sons, Tayoho, of Vasudeva and Devaki, Ajana Shankaya, with the doubt that they would be Vishnu. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Founder Acharya of ISKCON. Translation. After the departure of the great saint Narada, Kamsa thought that all the members of the Yadu dynasty were demigods, and that any of the children born from the womb of Devaki might be Vishnu. Fearing his death, Kamsa arrested Vasudeva and Devaki and chained them with iron shackles. Suspecting each of the children to be Vishnu, Kamsa killed them one after another because of the prophecy that Vishnu would kill him. Purport. Srila Jiva Goswami, in his notes on this verse, has mentioned how Narad Muni gave Kamsa this information. This incident is described in the Harivamsha. Narad Muni went to see Kamsa by providence, and Kamsa received him very well. Narada therefore informed him that any one of the sons of Devaki might be Vishnu. Because Vishnu was to kill him, Kamsa should not spare any of Devaki's children. Narad Muni advised. Narada's intention was that Kamsa, by killing the children, would increase his sinful activities so that Krishna would soon appear to kill him. Upon receiving the instructions of Narad Muni, Kamsa killed all the children of Devaki one after another. The word Ajana Shankaya indicates that Lord Vishnu never takes birth, Ajana, and that he therefore appeared as Krishna taking birth just like a human being, Manushim Tanumashritam. Kamsa attempted to kill all the babies born of Devaki and Vasudeva, although he knew that if Vishnu were born, he would not be killed. Actually, it came to pass that when Vishnu appeared as Krishna, Kamsa could not kill him. Rather, as foretold, it was he who killed Kamsa. One should know in truth how Krishna, who takes his birth transcendently, acts to kill the demons, but is never killed. When one perfectly understands Krishna in this way, through the medium of Shastra, one becomes immortal. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So I'll give you the translation again. After the departure of the great saint Narada, Kamsa thought that all the members of the Yadu dynasty were demigods, and that any of the children born from the womb of Devaki might be Vishnu. Fearing his death, Kamsa arrested Vasudeva and Devaki and chained them with iron shackles. Suspecting each of the children to be Vishnu, Kamsa killed them one after another because of the prophecy that Vishnu would kill him. Okay, so this in continuation to our discussion on the advent of Lord Krishna. In the previous verse, we saw that Narad Muni approached Kamsa and informed him how the demoniac persons who were a great burden on earth were going to be killed. Thus, Kamsa was placed into great fear and doubt. And in this particular verse, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes from Jiva Goswami's notes, and he says that this incident is described in Harivamsha. Actually, this incident is also the prelude of this incident, also comes in the 8th canto before the appearance of Vamandev. What had happened was after the churning of the ocean, that the nectar was distributed to the demigods, and the demons did not get anything. So then there was a fight. There was a fight between the demons and the demigods, and the demons were killed in that fight. And actually in 8th canto it's also mentioned that Lord Vishnu himself personally came and killed several of these demons. So these demons then took birth in earth, in Bhuloka. They took birth in Bhuloka, and that is how the earth got burdened. So when we see the prayers in this chapter itself, we saw that Bhumi, Mother Earth, prays to the demigods, and the demigods then go to the Supreme Lord and pray to him for reducing the burden. This burden actually was increased because these demons who were killed during this demigods and demons fight, they took birth in this Bhuloka. So that was the reason. And we know that several of these demons were born during this particular time when Krishna was to appear. So we know that Shishupal was Hiranyakashipu himself, was killed by Lord Nrsimhadev. Then Jarasandha was a great demon known as Viprachitti, and he was also killed by the demigods. Then this Keshi, Mushtika, Chanura, and all these famous demons that we hear of in Srimad Bhagavatam, all of them were actually demons who were killed during this particular fight. And Kamsa was Kalanemi himself, who was killed by Lord Vishnu. Okay, and so that's how the demons took birth. So in Harivamsha, it's mentioned that after the demons took birth, and Lord Vishnu, he understood that what is happening. In fact, the demigods went after they received the prayers from Mother Bhumi. The demigods went, and Lord Vishnu told them to take birth in Bhuloka, just as the demons have done, so that the burden of earth can be reduced. And demigods also took birth. So famously, we know the Pandavas. They were born. Yudhishthira was born from Dharmaraj himself. Then Bhima was the son of Vayu. Then Arjuna was Indra's son, and Nakula and Sahadeva were Ashwini Kumaras. And Duryodhan, coming back to the demons. So Duryodhan was the personified Kali Yuga personified. He took birth as Duryodhan, and that is why he was the central cause of creating Kalaha, of creating dissension between the two families. And Dwapar Yuga actually took birth as Shakuni. So that's also mentioned. These details are mentioned in Mahabharata, in the Adi Parva, in the Sambhava Upaparva. So all these details are mentioned there. And among the demigods also, now Brihaspati, Amsha, came as Drona. Then the Maruts took form as Satyaki, Kritavarma, like that. So all these elaborate details are mentioned. So Narad Muni, after this, so in Harivamsha it's mentioned that after the demigods and the demons have taken their birth in Bhuloka, then Narad Muni goes to Lord Vishnu, and then he prays to him, and he tells him that all these demons and demigods have taken birth, but then there is this big demon, this Kalanemi, who could not be killed by any of the demigods, and who has taken birth as Kamsa. So in that fight that happened between the demons and the demigods, what had happened was the demigods were able to defeat most of the demons, but they were not able to defeat Kalanemi. So Kalanemi was not defeated. Although before the fight had happened, the demigods had approached Lord Vishnu, and then they have asked him to help And then after that, then they started to fight. But then Lord Vishnu did not intervene at that time. So only when Kalanemi was not defeated by any of the demigods, then they again went back to Lord Vishnu, they surrendered on to him, and then Vishnu came, Lord Vishnu came, and then he killed, basically made a chutney of Kalanemi. That's how it's mentioned in Harivamsha. So basically squashed him, killed him completely. So this time in Harivamsha it's mentioned that Narad Muni went to Lord Vishnu and he said, okay, for reducing the burden of this earth, you have told the demigods to take birth, but then there are demons who cannot be killed by anybody else. There is this Keshi demon, there is this Chanura, Mushtika. All these demons cannot be killed by ordinary demigods. For killing them, you will have to come personally. And Lord Vishnu said that yes, he will come. And Narad Muni also told to Lord Vishnu that Kalanemi has taken birth as Kamsa, and therefore he also has to be killed to reduce the biggest burden of earth at that time. So Lord Vishnu said that he will come, and then he so Lord Vishnu said that he will come. Okay, and the particular instance is actually quoted in the additional notes of this particular chapter. So I would like to read that. So what had happened was after Narada went to Lord Vishnu and their discussion was complete, the Narad Muni came to at the top of Sumeru mountain, where there are these assembly halls of different demigods. And in the assembly hall of Lord Brahma, there was a discussion about the killing of demons. So Narad Muni heard that, and then he came down to this Bhuloka to inform Kamsa about this. Okay, so this particular instance is actually mentioned by Shripad Madhvacharya. So Srila Prabhupada writes, this is in the additional notes, page 113. So Srila Prabhupada writes, an additional verse in this chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam is accepted by the Madhvacharya Sampradaya, represented by Vijay Dhwaja Tirtha. The verse is as follows. Atha kamsam upagamya narada brahmanandanaha ekantam upasangamya vakyam etat uvachaha. Thereafter, Narada, the mental son of Lord Brahma, approached Kamsa and in a very solitary place informed him of the following news. The great saint Narada descended from the heavenly planets to the forest of Mathura and sent his messengers to Kamsa. When the messenger approached Kamsa and informed him of Narada's arrival, Kamsa, the leader of the Asuras, was very happy and immediately came out of his palace to receive Narada, who was as bright as the sun, as powerful as fire, and free from all tinges of sinful activities. Kamsa accepted Narada as his guest and offered him respectful obeisances and gave him a golden seat, brilliant like the sun. Narada was a friend of the king of heaven. And thus he told Kamsa, the son of Ugrasen, my dear hero, you have satisfied me with a proper reception, and therefore I shall tell you something secret and confidential. While I was coming here from the Nandakanana through the Chaitratha forest, I saw a great meeting of the demigods who followed me to Sumeru Parvat. We travelled through many holy places, and finally we saw the holy Ganges. While Lord Brahma was consulting the other demigods at the top of Sumeru hill, I was also present with my stringed instrument, the Veena. I shall tell you confidentially that the meeting was held just to plan to kill the Asuras headed by you. You have a younger sister named Devaki, and it is a fact that her 8th son will kill you. So this is what is mentioned in Harivamsha. The reference is Harivamsha, Vishnu Puran, Vishnu Parva 1.2 to 16. First chapter, 2nd verse to 16th verse. And it's also mentioned in Harivamsha that when Narad Muni mentions to Kamsa that he will be killed by Lord Vishnu, then he also tells him that you are very fortunate that he will be killed by Lord Vishnu. But then he did not push the point, because the demons will not be able to understand. A demon like Kamsa will not be able to understand. So he just said you are fortunate. But then, for this to happen, then you have to kill all the other children of Devaki also. Because any one of them can be Lord Vishnu. It is possible that any one of them can be Lord Vishnu. And Srila Prabhupada also writes here that Narad Muni did like this because his intention was that Kamsa, by killing the children, would increase his sinful activities so that Krishna would appear to kill him sooner. And upon receiving the instructions of Narad Muni, Kamsa killed all the children of Devaki, one after another. Okay, so there is a reason. There is a reason behind that one thing is that Kamsa cannot be killed by the demigods. If we go to Garga Samhita, there we see the reference that Kamsa actually fought with the demigods also and he defeated them. And after defeating Indra, he took the throne of Indra and then he brought it back to Mathura. So the throne in which Kamsa was sitting at Mathura was actually Indra's throne from the heavenly planet. So he could not be killed by the demigods. The only person who can kill him is Lord Vishnu. So if we see in Srimad Bhagavatam also, throughout this chapter, nowhere it's mentioned that Lord Vishnu is personally going to come and kill Kamsa. The specific reference which I'm looking at is I think it's the 34th verse in this chapter, where it's mentioned that, I'll just read the translation, it will be clear. Yeah. So this Akashvani that happens says, okay, the translation goes, while Kamsa, controlling the reins of the horses, was driving the chariot along the way, an unembodied voice addressed him, "You foolish rascal, the 8th child of the woman you are carrying will kill you." You just mentioned it's the 8th child which will kill you, but it's not mentioned throughout this chapter that it's Lord Vishnu who will kill him. Okay, but Kamsa, he understood the point because he knew that he has already defeated the demigods. So therefore none of the demigods who are taking birth to kill the other demons will be able to kill him. So therefore it must be Lord Vishnu only who will come and kill him. And he also had this idea that Lord Vishnu, we cannot trust him. No, he's a trickster. So whenever he has appeared to protect the devotees and annihilate the demons, he has always played some trick. Or in other sense, Kamsa or demons like him have not been able to understand how Lord Vishnu appears and how he tricks them. Okay, so if you see the different incarnations of the Lord, when Varahadev came, first thing is his appearance was very guhya, very confidential. Nobody could understand from where he appeared. Even the demigods could not understand because he appeared from the nostrils of Lord Brahma and he was in a very small size. But then gradually he grew up. And in which form he was? He was in the form of a hog. Right? So he was not in the form of Lord Vishnu, but he was in the form of hog. And Hiranyaksha could not understand that this is Lord Vishnu himself. So therefore he fought with him and then he was killed. And similarly, we also see that other incarnations of the Lord also, like Nrsimhadev. When he came, Hiranyakashipu could not understand who he is. When he saw Nrsimhadev appear in front of him, what did he exclaim? What is this being? Not who is this being, but what is this being? Who is he? What is he? I have not seen someone like him. And is he capable of fighting with me? Is he capable of defeating me? So he was also bewildered. And with complete force, he fought with Nrsimhadev and he was also killed. And specifically, we also see, in this particular pastime of Kalanemi, when the demigods got the nectar, it was Mohini Murti. So Lord Vishnu very delicately, very nicely tricked the demons at this point also, and then he ensured that all the nectar was given to the demigods and the demons do not have any nectar. Okay, and as Prabhupada says, these demons are not foolish. These demons are like Panditas. They are very learned in all these concepts, in all the Shastras. So Kamsa knew all these stories. He knew, this is what has happened in the Puranas. It's what had happened previously. So therefore Lord Vishnu cannot be trusted. If Mohini Murti comes and he can bewilder like this, and in that fight only, I was killed as Kalanemi also. Right? So Narada mentions that to Kamsa, that you were killed by Lord Vishnu when you were Kalanemi during this particular fight. So Kamsa was aware of all these things. And then later, when Vamadev came, he came in a very small size. Right? Vamana itself means dwarf, one who is not tall. But then what he did? To take away the possessions of Bali, which he has acquired or which he has snatched from the demigods, he measured the whole universe in 3 steps. It's a trick. Right? If someone is very big, then you can understand that he will be able to do such a big task. But if someone is very small, how will you understand that he will be able to measure the whole universe in only 3 steps? So there also, he was tricked. Demons were tricked by Lord Vamadev, by Vishnu. Then of course, when Lord came as Ramachandra, then Ravana could not, he came in the form of a human being. His pastimes were those of a human being. He did not exhibit his super excellent qualities. Correct? He came in the form of a human being and then he performed his pastime just like a normal human being, being obedient to his father, going to the forest, losing his wife, lamenting like an ordinary householder. And then finally, he was able to take help of ordinary Vanaras. So demon like Ravana, how could he even imagine, how could he even think that a normal human being who is roaming around in a forest, just like a wanderer, just like a hunter, and who could not even save his wife, who could not exhibit any of his prowess, and now he's taking help not from the demigod but some vanaras, some monkeys. How is he the supreme lord? He's just a manusha, he's just a manav. I can easily defeat him, I can easily squash him. But then he was proved wrong, right? Lord Ramchandra defeated, he killed Ravana. And this huge fight happened in Ramayana. So there also the demons were defeated like this. And now Srila Prabhupada writes here that Lord Vishnu never takes birth, and that he therefore appeared as Krishna, taking birth just like a human being. Now Kamsa knew that if Lord Vishnu came, then it will not be possible for him to kill. Correct? Srila Prabhupada writes here that it will not be possible for him to kill. But then this is like an act of providence. So Kamsa was very fearful, and when a person is fearful and he does not know what he is doing, it is set in providence that the eighth child is going to kill him. And now Narad Muni at this point of time tells him that it's Lord Vishnu who is going to come to kill you. And Kamsa also understood because none of the demigods could kill him. Now in this particular case, then Kamsa attempted to kill all the babies born of Devaki and Vasudeva. Okay, so now why this happened? Now there are two reasons. One is the demoniac tendency of Kamsa himself, where he somehow thought that if the child, or if Vishnu is born as a child, it will be easy for me to kill him. Correct? He's just in the form of a child, which basically means that he did not understand the transcendental nature of Lord Vishnu. That it doesn't matter in which form Lord Vishnu appears, but it is not possible to kill him at all. That is one point which Kamsa did not understand. So he thought, if it's a baby, I'll smash him and then I'll somehow escape from death. So it's like it's a very confused position for Kamsa. One side he could understand or he could see that maybe Lord Vishnu cannot be killed. But on the other side, he did not want to just sit silently. He wanted to make sure that he makes all the attempt and he takes all the endeavor to somehow kill Lord Vishnu. But then the doubt always remained. So that's why in previous verse also it's mentioned, Prabhupada writes in the translation. Thus Kamsa was placed into great fear and doubt. So on one side he was fearful, on the other side he was doubtful also. So this is one aspect of it. Now another point is that Kamsa killing his children was also something which was predestined or preordained because of something which happened in the previous yuga. So this is also mentioned in the additional notes. So I'll just read this particular section because it's very much pertaining to our discussion here. So there Srila Prabhupada writes that formerly an Asura named Kalanemi had 6 sons named Hamsa, Suvikrama, Kratha, Damana, Ripurmardana and Krodahanta. They were known as Shad Garbhas or 6 Garbhas, and they were all equally powerful and expert in military affairs. These Shad Garbhas gave up the association of Hiranyakashipu, their grandfather, and underwent great austerities to satisfy Lord Brahma, who upon being satisfied agreed to give them whatever benediction they might desire. Okay, so they were the grandsons of Hiranyakashipu. And they did not go to Hiranyakashipu. And if you see from 7th canto also, Hiranyakashipu, although he was doing tapasya for Lord Brahma, his original desire was to come to the same level as Lord Brahma. It's not like he's worshipping Lord Brahma and he'll remain subservient to him. That was not his idea. His idea was that he'll worship Lord Brahma and then he'll come on the level of Brahma and everybody should worship him on the level of Brahma. But what has happened was his grandsons, these 6 sons of Kalanemi, they have taken a different route. They have directly worshipped Lord Brahma. Although Hiranyakashipu thought that he is the supermost being in this universe, on par with Lord Brahma. So when he came to know of this, that they have taken benedictions from Lord Brahma, okay, we'll just read this. So when asked by Lord Brahma to state what they wanted, the Shadgarbhas replied, "Dear Lord Brahma, if you want to give us a benediction, give us the blessing that we will not be killed by any demigod, Maharoga, Yaksha, Gandharvapati, Siddha, Charana or human being, nor by great sages who are perfect in their penances and austerities." Brahma understood their purpose and fulfilled their desire. But when Hiranyakashipu came to know of these events, he was very angry at his grandsons. "You have given up my association and have gone to worship Lord Brahma. he said, and therefore I no longer have any affection for you. You have tried to save yourself from the hands of the demigods, but I curse you in this way. Your father will take birth as Kamsa and kill all of you because you will take birth as sons of Devaki. Because of this curse, the grandsons of Hiranyakashipu had to take birth from the womb of Devaki and be killed by Kamsa, although he was previously their father. This description is mentioned in the Harivamsha Vishnu Parva, 2nd chapter. According to the comments of the Vaishnava Toshani, the son of Devaki, known as Kirtiman, was the third incarnation. In his first incarnation, he was known as Smara and was the son of Marichi. And later he became the son of Kalanemi. This is mentioned in the histories. So this I think also comes in the next chapter, that when Lord Brahma was doing the creation, first he created the Kumaras, but they did not agree to generate progeny. And after that, from his mind, he created several other sons. And one of them was Marichi. And Marichi then had his own sons. So when Lord Brahma was creating, then he got attracted to his own daughter sexually, and then he was running after her. So seeing this, the sons of Marichi, they offended Lord Brahma in that way by criticizing him for this particular act. Actually, the details of this is mentioned in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where it's mentioned that although Lord Brahma did something which is abominable, but he was quickly able to reposition himself in his particular duty, in his particular position, and then he gave up that particular body, which became dark, dense fog. So Brahma knew that what he has done was wrong, and then he was able to give up his body, and then he took another body in which he continued the creation of other people in this universe. And it's mentioned there in 3rd canto also that when a great personality does some particular abominable act, then it should not be criticized, because they will be able to quickly reinstate themselves in their proper position, and they are able to repent for the activity that they have done, and then they reinstate himself in the proper position, and then it goes like this. As Krishna also says, Apiche Suduracharo Bhajate Mamananyabhak Sadhureva Samantavya. So they should be considered as sadhu only. But the sons of Marichi, they did an offense by criticizing Lord Brahma for his particular act. And because of that offense, they were born as the sons of Kalanemi, or the grandsons of Hiranyakashipu. So that's why, though Smara was the son of Marichi, and because he criticized Lord Brahma, then he was born as one of the sons of Kalanemi, and then he was the first one who was born for Devaki, named as Kirtiman, and he was the first one who was killed. Okay, so that's how the story goes. So this is also one of the reasons why Kamsa was predestined to kill the sons of Devaki. Okay, and in this particular purport, Srila Prabhupada gives stress to this word, Ajana Shankaya. So he writes, the word Ajana Shankaya indicates that Lord Vishnu never takes birth, and that he therefore appeared as Krishna, taking birth just like a human being. Okay, so Lord Vishnu never takes birth. Even if we see how the creation came about, we have Lord Mahavishnu, Karanodaksha Vishnu is there in the Karna ocean, and from the pores of his body, all the different universes come out. Correct? And within each of these universes, Karanodaksha Vishnu then expands himself, and then he enters as Garbhodaksha Vishnu. And after he enters as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, then within each of the universe he expands himself as Kshirodaksha Vishnu. And it is normally said that when the incarnations come, they come through Kshirodaksha Vishnu, like this. But then Karanodaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu and Kshirodaksha Vishnu, they are not the sources of the different incarnations in this universe. Okay, they are Purusha Avataras. They are Purusha Avataras, and they have their specific duties which they perform. Mahavishnu, he exhales the universes, and then he has his particular duty of just creating this material world, of starting this whole creation of material creation process. Then Garbhodaksha Vishnu, then he creates a blueprint, or he creates a framework in the form of Hiranyagarbha as the universal form, which is then used by Lord Brahma to manufacture or to engineer the entire universe. And as Kshirodaksha Vishnu, he is there as Paramatma who sanctions Upadrashta Anumantacha, like this. He sanctions, and he is a witness of all the activities that we do. So this is what they do. This is what their activity is. So, and Lord Vishnu's purpose, or Kshirodaksha Vishnu also is a Guna Avatara. So there are three Guna Avatars, right? Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and Lord Vishnu. So Lord Brahma is the avatar of mode of passion, and Lord Shiva is of mode of ignorance, and Lord Vishnu is mode of goodness. So sustenance requires mode of goodness. For anything to create, we require passion, correct? So Brahma is the Guna avatar of mode of passion, and to destroy anything, you need Tamoguna. Okay, so then Lord Shiva does the destruction part. But if you have to maintain something for thousands and thousands of years, for 1,000 Chaturyugas, for 2,000 Chaturyugas, and for the lifetime of Brahma, then you need Sattva-guna. Creation is easy, destruction is easy, but maintenance is always a problem. Okay, so it requires goodness. So Lord Vishnu, as the incarnation of mode of goodness, he maintains, he sustains this world. And whenever there is a disturbance between the demigods and the demons, so when we speak of the disturbance between demigods and demons, it's like this, no? The demigods are the authorized representatives who are the administrators of this universe. So in this universe, the activities that the demigods perform, they have been given that particular duty by the Supreme Lord, by Lord Vishnu himself. So they maintain the rule and order, the regulation of this particular universe. When the demoniac elements, they try to take the power and opulence and happiness and enjoyment that is experienced by the demigods, then it creates an imbalance within this universe. That is why the demigods, knowing that they have no other shelter but Lord Vishnu, they go to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu, as the maintainer of this universe, then he creates the balance again, where the demons, the demonic elements are suppressed, and the divine people, the divine beings, they are again given their respective duties and they perform their duties. So this is his duty of maintenance, and that's about it. Okay, but in this particular case, it's a special case because the demons and demigods are not fighting directly now. The demons have taken birth as human beings, as his demoniac kings, and the demigods have also given their amshas. So they have also taken birth in this Bhuloka as different kings, and a fight is going to happen. And so Lord Vishnu is specifically mentioned here as Ajana. Ajana means one who is not born, because Lord Vishnu is not going to come personally to fight with the demons, but then he is going to be born as someone who will perform these activities, but then he's that person who actually is not unborn. He's an unborn. He's Ajana. So Lord Vishnu is born as Krishna, but then Lord Vishnu himself is Ajana. He is not born. Okay, so these things are very confidential, which only devotees can understand. Bhaktya Maha Abhijanati, Krishna also says, right? So only devotees can understand this, but Kamsa is not able to figure it out. And that is also one of the reasons why he was trying to kill all the children who were born from Devaki's womb. Okay. And yeah, so that's why Srila Prabhupada also writes here that Kamsa attempted to kill all the babies born of Devaki and Vasudeva, although he knew that if Vishnu were born, he would not be killed. Actually, it came to pass that when Vishnu appeared as Krishna, Kamsa could not kill him. Rather, as foretold, it was he who killed Kamsa. One should know in truth how Krishna, who takes his birth transcendently, acts to kill the demons, but is never killed. So in this way, Kamsa was actually foolish because he thought that he will be able to kill Vishnu, although he had that doubt also. It is a confused position. But only the devotees, or only who are followers of this of the Vedic scriptures, in parampara, they will be able to understand that Krishna is transcendental. When he comes in human form also, then he is transcendental. We see, we will saw about the different Leela avatars of the Lord, like Varaha, then Vamana, then Nrsimhadev, then Nrsimhadev was there. Then after that, Ramchandra came. Then Krishna came. So we can understand, although they came in different forms. When Varahadev came, he came in the form of a hog. But he is not hog, he is transcendental. His body, although he has taken the form of a pig or of a hog, does not mean that he is contaminated by the qualities of a hog. No, he always maintains his transcendental position. Similarly, when he comes in a very unique form of Nrsimhadev, which is a combination of a lion and a man, does not mean that his qualities are also mixed like that of a lion and a man. No, he has his own transcendental quality. It is completely different. He is transcendental to the form in which he appears. Okay, when he came as Vamana, a small boy, as a Brahmana boy, but then he was able to measure the entire universe. So he maintained. So when the Lord comes, although he comes in a form which looks as if it's just like us. So even when Lord Ramchandra came, we discussed this, that Ravana was not able to identify. And the reason is because he came just like a human being. And when you see him, then all the opulences are there, but they are hidden. As Krishna also says, no? Avajananti ma mudha manushim tanumashitam param bhavam jananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. And there's another word also which is very specific to this. Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavrta mudhoyam nabi janati loko mama javam vaidayam. So Naham Prakasha Sarvasya, although he's manifest right in front of you, or in front of the demons in that sense, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya, although he's manifest, but still he says, I am not manifest. How is that? Because Naham Prakasha Sarvasya, then Yogamaya Samavrtaha, because I am covered by my Yogamaya potency. So when the demons come, and although they are looking directly at the Lord, so when Rama came, when Lord Ramchandra came, it does not mean that he did not have 6 opulences. Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Veerasya Shashriya Jnana Vairagyoschaiva Channam Bhagitin Gana. It was there in the personality of Lord Ramchandra. And how do we understand that? By looking at his qualities, by the activities that he has performed. So although these 6 qualities which qualify him as Bhagavan was present in his personality, but still the demons were not able to understand. Still Ravana was not able to understand him. And his counterparts also were not able to understand him. When Krishna came, he actually manifested all his opulences in full. All the 64 opulences in full. But how many people were able to identify him as a Supreme Lord? Not many. Hardly, you can count, basically. But there were so many people who were opposed to him. Although he had his lotus eyes, he was the most beautiful person. Shriyaha, he was most beautiful. Aishwarya, he was so opulent. Each palace, 16,108 palaces for each one of his wives. Such an opulence. Aishwarya is among the Veerya, such a strength. When Jarasandha came to fight with Krishna, 17 times he came. And Krishna went alone. Not even with an army. And Jarasandha was coming with Akshonis and Akshonis of army. But Krishna was able to defeat him just like that. But then was Jarasandha able to understand that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead? No. That's the demonic tendency. The tuning of the mind is not proper. The Lord is covered by his Yogamaya. So those who have demoniac tendency, they will not be able to identify the Lord. Then Veera, then Shriyaha, he was so beautiful. Right? Aishwarya Samagrasya, Veerasya Yashashaha, he was so famous. Shriyaha, Jnana, he was so knowledgeable. He gave the knowledge of, when Prabhupada says, he spoke Bhagavad Gita and Uddhav Gita also. And Bhagavad Gita was spoken actually in the battlefield for the benefit of all. Srila Prabhupada writes in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Which means that everybody was able to hear what Krishna was speaking. But were they able to understand what Krishna was speaking? Were they able to grasp the knowledge that he gave? The essence of all the Vedanta. They were not able to understand. Still they were engrossed in their material sense gratificatory activities only, which is the characteristics of a demon. So they were not able to understand his knowledge. And finally, Krishna renounced everything, as if he was not attached to anything else. That also the demons could not understand. So the point is that although Krishna exhibits all these different qualities, if we or the living entities do not make themselves qualified to see the Lord, Krishna might be present right in front of us, but will not be able to identify him. How many times Duryodhan would have seen Krishna? How many times Shakuni would have seen Krishna? Right? How many times all Jarasandha would have seen? How many times? Okay, Kamsa did not see, but still, so many other demons that came in front of Krishna, they saw him. So many Rakshasas who came in front of Lord Ramchandra, they saw him face to face. But still they thought him as their enemy and they wanted to fight and kill him. So the demoniac tendency is to always kill the Lord. And this is the same thing that Kamsa also is trying to do. But then the point here is that since Narada has told that this is the discussion and it has been ordained that the 8th child who is going to be Lord Vishnu and he is going to kill you, then Kamsa in one sense was fearful, but at the same time he also had hopes that he will be able to kill Lord Vishnu when he comes in his baby form. But then Lord Vishnu does not matter whether he comes in a baby form or in any other form, he is always transcendental, he is always powerful, he is always the supreme and he cannot be killed. So this Ajana is that Lord Vishnu comes in such a form, in the form of a baby, because Kamsa here knows that Lord Vishnu is not going to directly appear, but it's the 8th child who is going to kill me. right? That's the Akashvani, correct? It's the eighth child who is going to kill me. And Narad Muni has told here that it's Lord Vishnu who is going to come and kill you. So now Lord Vishnu is going to come as a child. And that is why it's Ajana. Ajana means Lord Vishnu who cannot take birth. He is going to come, he is going to take birth in certain form of a baby, and then he is going to kill Kamsa. So that's why this Ajana becomes very prominent in this particular verse. And in one sense, if we see from the absolute point of view, all of us, all the living entities are also Ajana only. They do not take birth. In the sense that they are eternal, they have the same quality of Sat, Chit and Ananda. So we are also eternal, we are also full of knowledge, and we also have the tendency to acquire Ananda, to acquire bliss. And everything that goes through in our life of us taking birth, it's just like a dream. It's factual, it's real, the experiences are real. But then the living entity does not undergo any transformation when he takes birth. Just like the Lord, when he comes in the form, he does not undergo any transformation. Similarly, the living entities also does not undergo any transformation. It's just the covering of consciousness, which basically hampers their original constitutional position. So if that covering is removed, then the soul is able to exhibit its own transcendental nature. In this particular case also, if you see from the point of view of Kamsa, it's not that Kamsa was not part and parcel of Krishna. No, he was also a living entity. He was also part and parcel of Krishna only. But his consciousness was covered with such a thick layer of this demoniac tendency that he was not able to see. He was not able to perceive the transcendental qualities of Lord Vishnu when he was in the form of Kalanemi. And now also he is not able to perceive that. But we will see in future, because he was completely absorbed in the thoughts of that personality who is going to come and kill him. Therefore, he got liberation after he was killed by Krishna. And that's when Narad Muni mentions in Harivamsha also that when you will be killed by the one who is going to appear, who is a form of Lord Vishnu himself, then that's a very glorious position for you, because you'll go back home, back to Godhead, like this. So one more aspect here was that it's mentioned Jatam Jatam Ahan Putran, which means that as the children were born, that Kamsa, he killed all these children. Okay, so one question was asked to me, okay, some time back, that if Vasudeva and Devaki already knew that their children are going to be killed, why did they have children? Correct. So they knew. See, at this particular point, Vasudeva and Devaki have been chained with iron shackles. Correct. And now the children who are born for Vasudeva and Devaki, now Kamsa has decided that he is going to kill them one by one. So what was the reason why Vasudeva and Devaki had more children if they knew that Kamsa was already going to kill them? Okay, this is just one question which was asked. And actually there's a reason behind that. And just like Prabhupada writes here, no, that Narada's intention was that Kamsa, by killing the children, would increase his sinful activities so that Krishna would soon appear to kill him. So that's one of the reasons, to increase the sinful activities of Kamsa. Another reason is that, okay, this particular reason is not specific to Vasudeva and Devaki having children, but Kamsa killing them. But Vasudeva and Devaki had children because even they had that understanding that Lord Vishnu can appear. Lord Vishnu can appear as any child. And actually it was proved when Lord Vishnu and Lord Shankarshana appeared as the seventh child. Now it was mentioned that the eighth child would kill. And Vasudeva and Devaki are learned personalities. They knew that one who is going to kill is an expansion of Lord Vishnu himself, who is going to come, who is going to be born from their womb. But then they also had that Lord Vishnu, although may be born as the eighth child, it is possible that he can appear in different expansions as other children also. So therefore they wanted to have children so that Lord Vishnu can appear as soon as possible. And when they were killed, then, and one more thing, one more explanation that is given is, as the children are killed, Vasudeva and Devaki were trying to have children again and again, and the point was because they also wanted to see the appearance of the Lord as soon as possible, right? Because they knew the eighth child is definitely going to be Lord Vishnu, and they wanted him to appear. But then we also see that it's not only the eighth child, the seventh child is also Lord Vishnu only, right? It's Balaram who appeared. So, that kind of transcendental understanding was there with Vasudeva as well, Vasudeva and Devaki as well, and that's why they had children. Okay. So, at the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that Srila Prabhupada writes, when one perfectly understands Krishna in this way, through the medium of Shastra, one becomes immortal. So one will not have to be killed. Right? As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tatvatah tektva deham punarjanma naiti mameti. So Arjuna. So if we see our position also, actually it's a big topic, but just in briefly I would like to say this, that if you see our topic, our existence also, Kamsa is killed. Okay, Kamsa is killed by Lord Vishnu, which is a glorious position. But those living entities who are born in this material world also, they are also being killed. Right? Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti hayamalayam. At every moment, so many people are being killed. So Kamsa in this particular place was killed by Vishnu. So many demons were killed by the demigods. Okay, all this fight, all these instances that we see in the Puranas, we see that all these bad elements were killed. But then if we see our position also, we are also killed. We are not killed by Lord Vishnu directly, but then we are killed by representative of Lord Vishnu, the Kala. As time progresses, then we also die again and again. Correct? Bhuta gramam sa evayam bhutva bhutva pradiyate tatragame vashapartha tatreva vyakta samnike. Pravatyaha ragame. Yes. So at morning they are born, and at night then they are killed, annihilated again and again. So when we read these pastimes of Krishna, then we are basically trying to save ourselves from this death. Kamsa saved himself from repeated birth and death by intensely meditating upon Krishna. Similarly, we are also supposed to meditate on these pastimes so that we can also save ourselves from this repeated death that we undergo. So we are also dying. Just like Kamsa was killed by Vishnu, we are being killed by his representative, Vishnu's representative as Kala. So we must understand that this chakra, that this birth and death is always going to come, and we are also going to be killed. So our endeavor, our whole endeavor should be to progress, to understand the birth and activities of Lord Krishna, as it's stated here from chapter 4, text 9. Jarma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tatvatah. One who can understand the janma and karma as transcendental. So this position of transcendentality or this transcendence, now we have to make an endeavor to have a clear understanding of what this transcendence is. Because our position in this material world, we are influenced by the three modes. And transcendence means that which is beyond the three modes. So to go beyond the three modes, we have to situate ourselves beyond the three modes. Or at the minimal, we have to situate ourselves in Sattva-guna. And Sattva-guna is the place where we have knowledge. Sattvam sanjayate jnanam. So to understand that the janma or the birth of one who is not born, the janma of ajana and the karma of ajana is transcendental. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvatah. To understand that in proper principle, we must situate ourselves in minimum Sattva-guna. Sattva-guna must be there, which means our activities are regulated. Our activities are proper. We maintain purity of thought, mind, body and words. Like this. So when one knows that, then Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma, because from Sattva-guna one can elevate himself to Shuddha Sattva or the position of transcendence. And when we come to the position of transcendence, then and the realization comes. When we are in Sattva-guna, the knowledge is there, but then the realization is not there. When we speak of knowledge and realization, we might have all kinds of theoretical knowledge, we might know Shastra, we might have memorized verses, all those things might there, we might remember so many instances, so many stories from the Puranas, from Mahabharata, Itihasa, this, that and all, and we may be able to quote everything also. But all this is on the platform of Sattva-guna. And by our practice also, we may situate ourselves in Sattva-guna. But when we transcend this level of Sattva-guna and come to Shuddha Sattva, then that is the platform of realization. When we realize the real position, the actual position of the Supreme Lord, of actual transcendence, of the absolute truth. So Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yoveti Tatvatah. The one who knows this completely, then Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti. So Arjuna. So after leaving this body, and he does not take birth again. So this is what we should endeavor for. So these pastimes which are mentioned here, And specifically, if we see in other Puranas also, so many details are mentioned about the demons. Demons are actually very much glorified. If you see the fight between the demons and demigods, it's mentioned in Harivamsha also. So you see there are chapters after chapters in which the demons are glorified of how powerful they are. And then there are chapters of chapter in which the demigods are glorified. But then ultimately the conclusion comes that all the demons are such powerful, they are glorified so much, and the demigods are so powerful. When they come and fight, then either the demons win or the demigods win, and ultimately they have to take shelter. The demons, the most powerful demons, cannot be killed by the demigods, but they can be killed by Lord Vishnu. And when the demigods are in a problematic situation, then they must take shelter of Lord Vishnu. So the conclusion is to that, which gives us an idea that whatever endeavor we do, unless we take shelter of Lord Vishnu, then our activities will not come to fruition. And this is also seen in the fight between the demigods and demons. The demigods initially, before the fight starts, they go to Lord Vishnu seeking for help. Correct? But then Lord Vishnu does not come immediately. Now that he enters the battlefield, vanquishes all the demons, and the demigods don't do anything. It's not like that. It's always the demigods and the demons, they fight tooth and nail, literally. They fight tooth and nail. And when the demigods in a very precarious position, because the demigods at this point of time, they have this bhava that they can defeat the demons. They can defeat them. Let us push, let us do our endeavor. But then when they are not able to do that, and finally they realize with their own endeavor, they are not able to defeat the demons. So now they have to take shelter of Lord Vishnu. So they have to remind themselves, oh, we are fighting on his behalf. We are fighting on his behalf because it is his responsibility. He has assigned us to maintain the rules and regulations, the order of this particular universe. So we are fighting for him. He is the purpose. We are satisfying him by this particular fight. But then we are fighting in such a way that we are trying to show our prowess. And when that does not work, then they have to take shelter of Lord Vishnu, and then Lord Vishnu comes. So only when we surrender to Lord Vishnu in all of our endeavors, then the help comes. And we have experienced that also. When we are going for book distribution and we think, I'm such a nice orator, I can speak like this, I can speak like that, and I can do all these different kinds of reason, I can logically defeat any other person who comes in front of me, books may not go. But then when we surrender very deeply, very intensely to the Lord, then he helps. And then he sends those conducive pious souls who will take the books and get benefited. So it's like that. So I'll stop here. So these are some of the thoughts I had. If you have any questions, we can discuss.
You mentioned in the class that for creation you need passion.
Yes.
For destroying you need tamagun.
Yes, ignorance.
So for destroying also, no, we need passion. Is it not?
We need passion. No, passion is specifically for creation, because anything that is destroyed now. See, creation serves a purpose. Okay, creation serves a purpose. Of course, destruction also serves a purpose, but creation requires patience also. And then it requires certain amount of architecture, certain amount of skills. But destruction does not require any skill. Okay, just destroy it. That's all. Because you are not caring of anything that is there. You just destroy it. That's all. That's why it's termed as ignorance. But for creation, there should be a specific order. And the endeavor should also be there. Okay, so primarily passion is when you create, when you do something. Okay, and give become something, or destruction is then related to ignorance, because although it serves a purpose in terms of this creation and this running of this material world, but then we are not, or during the destruction, it is not, what to say, it is not required, or it is not necessary to take care of things, so to speak. There should not be an order. There need not be an order for destruction. Just come and destroy. And even if you see in our lives also, if we have to destroy something, we do not really give it that much of a thought. But then when you have to create something, then thought process is required in addition to our endeavor also. So passion also requires knowledge. Passion requires knowledge. But then ignorance does not require any knowledge. You just go and destroy it. Therefore, destruction is primarily in tamoguna, whereas creation is in mode of passion, rajoguna, like this. Okay, so I have one question here. The Shadgarbhas performed austerity and got blessings of Lord Brahma that they will not be killed by any demigod, yaksha, etc. Then how is it that Hiranyakashipu curse overrode this blessing? Yes. So this particular instance is also mentioned in Harivamsha, and it is said that after Narad Muni went and met, this, whose question is this? Oh yes, okay. So there it's in Harivamsha, it's mentioned that Narad Muni, after going to Lord Vishnu and telling him about Kalanemi taking birth as Kamsa, then Lord Vishnu thinks that okay, these Shadgarbhas are there. Now the eighth child, the prophecy is that the eighth child is going to uh, kill Kamsa, and the seventh child is going to be my Amsha itself. So the first sixth child can be taken from this Shadgarbha. So Lord Vishnu, then he instructs Nidra Devi, and he tells that you take the life air of the Shadgarbha who are residing at the bottom of ocean, I think Patalok or somewhere. You take the life air of them and then you institute them into the womb of Devaki one by one. Okay, you institute this amshas of the Shadgarbha, this life air of Shadgarbhas into Devaki's womb one by one, so that Kamsa will then be able to kill him. Okay. So, in one sense, the the curse or the benediction which was given by Lord Brahma was overridden by Lord Vishnu because he desired that the Shadgarbhas should be killed by Kamsa. So that's one understanding. And Hiranyakashipu had also killed. So it's like a balancing act, we can say, where all the Lord Brahma has given us a benediction that none of the demigods can kill. But then Hiranyakashipu's curse is also there. And then Lord Vishnu's purpose on top of it also has to be resolved. So therefore, all the Shadgarbhas were there inside the ocean. He took their life airs only. And then it was killed. Now I am not sure after killing this child, then they again became the Shadgarbhas or not. If I remember correctly, they did go back. They did go back to their original position. No, this is something which I have to confirm. So that way they were actually not killed by any of the demigods or by Kamsa, but then only their Amsha or the portion was taken. They were born as the sons of Devaki, and then they again were they sent back as Shadgarbhas only. So this was under the jurisdictional order of Lord Vishnu. Okay, so that is one. And can Shiva kill Kamsa? Please comment. Okay. See the benediction. See, I am not from what we have discussed today. See, Kamsa could have been killed by Lord Shiva because Kalanemi got the benediction that he will not be killed by any of the demigods, which means we can extend that to Lord Shiva also. But Kamsa did not undergo any of these austerities or penances. He was strong from the day he was born. And the reason for that is because he was killed by Lord Vishnu when he was Kalanemi. I think we have discussed this before also that when the Lord kills the demons, when the Lord comes, not in the form of Krishna, when he comes as Krishna, when he kills, then the demons go back to the spiritual world, or at least attain Brahmajyoti. But when the other forms of the Lord come, like Lord Vishnu himself, or other such forms, when they kill, the demons do not go back to the spiritual world, but actually they get a very powerful position in this universe itself. So Kalanemi was killed by Lord Vishnu, and when he was born of Ugrasen and his wife, again we also discussed this that he was actually the wife of Ugrasen was impregnated by Gobhila, who was a Gandharva. And he had this demoniac tendency, and at the wrong time she was conceived. So Kamsa, as he was born, he was very powerful, and then he defeated all the great demons who were killed by Krishna later, like Keshademon, Arishtasura, Vyomasura, Putana. Everybody was defeated by Kamsa, and then Kamsa went to the heavenly planets also, and he defeated the demigods there as well. But then in that particular fight, Lord Shiva was not there, if I remember correctly, and he also did not get any benedictions specifically that Lord Shiva or the demigods cannot kill him. So I am assuming that in this particular case, Lord Shiva may have killed Kamsa, but then it's speculative. So I cannot give a very perfect answer for this. Okay, anything else? we'll stop here. Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. ఇది కూడా